It's been a while since anyone prayed in this mosque in northern Jakarta. The sea has long since claimed it. It makes Irvan Pulungan sad every time he sees the building.
The sinking of the city is increasing in past few years, and it touched me a lot because you can imagine people say their prayers here before and they cannot do it anymore.
The Indonesian capital of Jakarta is home to over 30 million people. It's one of the most densely populated cities in the world, and it has a problem. The threat isn't obvious here in the heart of the city, but it's severe. In the north, home to many fishing communities, there's no ignoring the rising seawaters. This breakwall was built in 2002 in the Muara Baru district as protection against flooding. The seawall is continuously being reinforced and raised, but that doesn't help. After a spell of heavy rainfall, the water begins pouring over again. Jakarta is sinking.
When the groundwater is being extracted very much and we lose our water catchment, the surface and the soil is become sinking. We have water extraction and then came along climate change in these 20 years. The climate change impact is doubling the vulnerability of the city because it's already below water naturally.
Rising sea levels and sinking soil. The city needs more long-term solutions. Pulungan used to be an environmental activist who campaigned for the rights of fishermen. Nowadays, he advises the governor of Jakarta and is part of a team working to stop the city from disappearing into the ground. He's well aware that anything he plans will have an impact on fishing. There are some 22,000 fishermen in Jakarta. These people harvest green mussels from the bay, a local specialty. They're cooked right on the beach. Four years ago, the city authorities began building a chain of artificial islands off the northern coast to slow down land subsidence. It's had a serious impact on their catches.
How many kilos do you catch a day?
About 50 kilos.
And what about before the islands were built?
Back then we caught about 200 kilos.
Now a new port is planned, along with a break wall that's actually in the sea, 50 meters offshore. The fishermen are worried they soon won't be able to catch anything at all. They've learned to live with regular flooding, but the new coastal wall would mean the end of their livelihoods.
You want to know whether the coastal wall will disturb our access to the sea? I say that even if it has benefits for the community, the development plan has to be discussed with the affected community.
Pulungan wants the fishermen to be part of the decision-making. The covered market where they sell their catch is nearby. Here too, it's impossible to overlook the city's plight. The market was only built 5 years ago, but huge cracks are already showing. Buildings in some parts of Jakarta are sinking into the ground at a rate of up to 25 centimeters a year. This major fountain in the heart of Jakarta belies the fact that clean water is in desperately short supply. Half the capital's population draws its water from illegal wells. and vast amounts of groundwater are used by the new high-rises springing up across town. That needs more regulation, says Pulungan.
To develop a more water absorption facilities, to strengthen their waste management facilities, and also to penalize where they violating their water licensing.
The city is searching for ways to conserve the precious resource. Preventing groundwater levels from further declining is essential. Otherwise, Jakarta will sink even faster and flooding will pose an even bigger threat. Waste is another problem. In the monsoon season especially, trash clogs up rivers and canals, so waterways can't drain into the sea. These days, an army of about 12,000 trash collectors work around the clock, battling the garbage emergency. A number of kampungs or settlements have already been evacuated and torn down in the name of flood protection. The kampung of Tongkol was slated for demolition in 2015. The huts were directly on the river and inhabitants were supposed to be evicted. Then they took matters into their own hands. They've torn down parts of their homes themselves, removing sections on the water's edge.
3 years ago, we cut our house, and before we some cleaning river activities, and before we plant some vegetables or flower and anything here. This, yeah, looks different. Not really perfect, but
the result is a thriving, peaceful community and residents who take pride in keeping the neighborhood trash-free. And there's now a riverside walkway that's a comfortable distance from the water. The community also has the support of a team of architects who developed a sustainable model home for Tongkol. It's made of stone and wood rather than plastic and sheet metal. 7 families live here.
this is small house like pigeon house.
Among them are Gugun Muhammad, his wife and their 2 children.
It's cooler than before, and I have window. This is important for me because in the past I don't have window.
The architects are pinning their hopes on sustainable living solutions and social change.
Well, I'm not saying the physical result is not important, but I think the social process that comes with it is the most important.
Social responsibility, sustainable water management. The people of Tongkol have shown what's possible. The community has become a model of clean and green living. Now the neighborhood enjoys state support. Irvan Pulungan hopes the authorities are starting to understand that when it comes to ensuring the city's survival, the urban poor in northern Jakarta are part of the solution, not the problem.